Let's take a look at the course overview, what we all have in store for you. Imagine this huge library. At the baseline, at the basement, or not at the front, at the base floor, the ground floor, you enter the building, and that's where the most generic information is. That's the foundation, because you first need to know the foundation before you can build up on that. But that's where you enter a new world, a totally new world of knowledge, experience, and insights. And we also will start on the first floor, on the ground floor, with some foundational knowledge about health and wellness. And even though that foundational knowledge is, well, foundational, it probably will still rock your world, because we will take a different angle at it and how you can look at health and wellness. And each floor we go into more depth of the information, more depth of your personal experience, more exercises, until we end up at the next floor to go even at a deeper level. But first we need to cover some basics, and then step by step we can go into more detail. And like this library, the way it works, the way this specific course works, is we will be designing, or I will be designing this based on where you are. Because I don't see you, I don't hear you, I can only read your comments, I can hear a little bit on the Q&A, so I need to know where you are, how the exercise is going, and I might shift certain topics to the first floor, or to the third floor, or to the ground level. So I need that information from you. So that's why we also schedule some Q&A calls, so we can have a discussion where you are and what it is that you comprehend already, and where do I need to add or create new sessions. And that's the beauty of this module, actually, because if I notice that there's a certain lack of knowledge, I can create a new module and insert in the right place. And even though it's kind of flexible, I do have a full structure of the entire course, and I'll give you a little bit of the overview right now. So at first there's an introduction, and the introduction is a little bit about what is actually health and wellness. What is self-healing and how does it work? Why is BioCompass, and what makes it different? And why is it there? And the Paralesi system for working with clients. It's a really easy system. You can do step by step to know what to do next with your clients. And what is the wisdom of the body? Is there any wisdom? And how does it function? Or is it just stupid? The next part is actually phases of life, phases of natural life processes. The understanding of the process of how a disease or how symptoms develop over time. Because a symptom doesn't appear from thin air. It develops over time and it disappears over time sometimes, or actually a lot of times. And then we need to cover a little bit what is the difference between a syndrome versus a symptom? Because there's many jargon being used in the physician's world that once you understand it, you can start asking better questions. But you need to ask the specific differences, in this case, between a syndrome and a symptom. And what actually starts the bodily adaptation process? Why is the body changing itself? Why is it creating things, and at what time? The next part is that we will go into different tissue types, because we have old type tissues and we have new type tissues. Note, I specifically talk about tissues and not organs. Tissues, not organs. I will explain that a little bit more in depth later when we get to this topic. And sometimes I might have a slip of the tongue, but technically we talk about tissues. How each tissue has a very specific meaning, and what that meaning is, and how can you relate that to the function of the tissue and the actual reactions of each tissue to stress and relaxation. How does the epidermis, which is a tissue of the skin, it's the outside layer of the skin, how does it react to stress or relaxation? Or the cardiac muscle, which is a tissue part of the heart, how does it react to the stress or relaxation? And the emotional theme of the main issues, the main tissues. What is the emotional content? What did the client perceive in order for that tissue to react? Then we will go into the importance of left and right hand dominance. What makes the difference? And why is that important? Why do you need to know that? Because it makes a difference in how the stress is perceived. So you can ask better questions when you know that. We're going to go into the different territorial themes. What makes a man different from a woman? How are they perceiving the same life situations in a different way? And how does that end up in different type of symptoms? We'll discuss the use of microbes, bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Why are they there? What is their use for? And when do they become a problem, or do they become a problem? Then we move into creating an actually BioCompass for a client. How do you do that? What are the steps you take from a complaint? A client comes in with a headache, a muscle ache, a specific diagnosis, and how can you create an incomplete BioCompass for that client for the issues that they need to work on? And finding the trigger that caused the symptoms, mapping the entire process in a way that a client can actually realize that what you explain is what they experienced. And to create an entire therapy plan. A therapy plan that makes it easy for a client to change their life, implement your therapy plan, and you can help them with that to move forward and start healing themselves. So that's a little bit of the overview of the content of the course. Then we have a completion. It's an online theoretical examination so that I know that you know the basic concepts, and you need to create some case studies, and we will be discussing them. Case studies from real life clients, and you can record them and we'll watch them and give you feedback. And what's next? After this course is completed, you can market yourself as a licensed BioCompass coach. I'm not sure yet if we call it coach or therapist or facilitator. I need to play a little bit with that. One of the reasons I probably will move away from therapist, as internationally the word therapist is getting more bad wording, legal issues, insurance start interfering with what you can and cannot do as a therapist. And some people are not even allowed to call them therapist. And that makes it kind of hard. And from a business standpoint, that's really worse, because you never want an insurance company to tell you what you can charge or cannot charge. So I'm still working on the different terminology. But you can market yourself as a licensed BioCompass coach, for example. And here comes the other benefit. Because the word BioCompass is a registered trademark, it's only allowed by a certain number of people, like yourself, which increases your branding and increases your value, and thus you can set good prices so that you can make a good living for yourself. You're able to conduct licensed BioCompass trainings and workshops. The way this works is clients or students retrieve or get the content online, like you're doing yourself right now, so you don't have to remember all the content, because as you notice, the content can be pretty dense and intense. You don't have to remember all the content. You can focus on guiding people through the exercises as kind of a facilitator. And we'll create an entire training and workshop manual for you, so you can facilitate that workshop. People get the content online. Offline, in your class, people do the exercises and you do the debrief. And in that way, it's much easier for students also to get this information. And we also will always be there to support you. I will always be there to support you. Just drop me an email and we get into the Skype or answer it through email or in the forum. There are plenty of ways to do that. And I will be there to help you set up your business as a coach or as a trainer or both. BioCompass has been designed to make it as viable business as possible. And that's why it's registered. That's why there's some other things in place. But my goal is to help you to become a profitable business as in coaching and in training. So that's actually what I have in store for you. There's probably much more that will be added over time, but at least you have a little bit of an overview.
Thanks for listening, and if you hit the subscribe button, you know you're never gonna miss some valuable content. Okay, let's do that.